Thursday morning, headlines around the world, May 27th, with terry-dwayne-ashford, SNnews. Coming to you live from Motel6, here in Washington, D.C., Georgia Avenue, suite number 305, this Thursday morning. I'm terry-dwayne-ashford, your journalist-in-chief broadcaster, who's also your Indacarseat, DatGuY. Headlines around the world with terry-dwayne-ashford, SNnews. May 27th, Thursday morning. The time right now, as we're getting the day started. All for you, with you, at 6:50 a.m. for our 7:30 a.m. live broadcast. I'm terry-dwayne-ashford. We do want to start our morning with a report from you that we may have identified that a wrong person here at the Motel6 here at Georgia Avenue have been identified as Terry-Dwayne-Ashford. Well, Terry-Dwayne-Ashford, that's me. If that is the case, we are showing that would be fraud. A fraudulent person has been identifying himself as the person who's been reporting from the hotel, and that would be so far wrong. That would be so terrible. It is amazing. This morning in suite number 305, we want to report that Terry-Dwayne-Ashford does not work for the hotel and has never worked for the hotel. We just want to get that started for you this morning. Make sure you understand that Terry-Dwayne-Ashford does not work for the Motel6. He is a guest here in suite number 305. We want to make that correction just in case you may have the wrong ideas and the wrong person plastered in your brain as to who Indacarseat that guy Terry-Dwayne-Ashford really is. We want to make that clear for you. May 27th is the date, and the morning is Thursday morning. We're getting it started for you for our 7:30 live broadcast. We're going to start out with the headlines around the world. We're going to first of all take you to a story that was reported by CNN of the victims of the San Jose shooting that has died. 9 victims has lost their life in the San Jose shooting. Now investigators are focusing on why it all happened. You're getting your story this morning from Terry-Dwayne-Ashford, SNnews, StreetNOW News, here in Washington, D.C., Motel6, suite number 305. We have also identified a story line, a rumor that an employee of the Motel6 has been claiming to have been Terry-Dwayne-Ashford, the StreetNOW News Jake reporter, and we are clarifying through this particular broadcast that is not so, that there is no employee at the Motel6 at Georgia Avenue that works or have any type of affiliation with StreetNOW News, SNnews, Terry-Dwayne-Ashford, and he is definitely not me. Let us take you right on back right now to the story that's reported first by CNN, and you're getting your report on the story from SNnews, Terry-Dwayne-Ashford. A 9th victim has been identified in the San Jose shooting. This particular story is brought to you by SNnews through a writer from CNN that was updated as recently as this morning, May 27th, by Madeline Holcomb, a CNN writer there. 9 victims have been identified for the mass shooting on Wednesday, and investigators have named the 9th one. We'll be right on back with that information for you shortly. All right, it's Terry-Dwayne-Ashford here, SNnews, reporting on a story that's brought to us by CNN on the San Jose shooting. 8 victims have been identified as part of the San Jose shooting that occurred on Wednesday. The ranges of the age of the victims goes from 29 years old to 63 years old in Santa Clara County Office of Medical Examiners. The coroner there goes by as Paul Delacruz. Mega. He's let's see here. We're gonna go ahead now and let's correct that. The coroner, the victim, one of the victims is Paul Delacruz. Mega. He's 42 years old, and we have 8 other victims that we're going to that has been identified as, and with the 9th one been identified as Alex Ward French. Now we're going to jump right in right here. I'm interrupting the broadcast here just to remind you that imagine someone following you and stealing your work before you even get a chance to broadcast it. That might be what we're seeing. Age 49, she was transported to the Santa Clara Valley Medical Center in critical conditions and died Wednesday evening, the coroner office said. Now again, this particular story comes from CNN. It's been reported to you by SNnews, terry-dwayne-ashford, and the story is among several situations, 232 shootings in which at least 4 people were shot within the United States of America so far this year, according to the tally by the Gun Valley Archive. Now, this Wednesday's incident occurred when a gunman targeted co-workers at the Valley Transportation Authority, the VTA, which is the public transit service that operates bus and light rail services in Santa Clara Valley. And VTA employs about 2,000 workers there. And the killings are among the latest in a spat of shootings that have struck essential workers in America. Again, the story is coming to you from SNnews, terry-dwayne-ashford from Motel6 suite number 305, who is not an employee of the Motel6, and it's coming by way of CNN News. You're with Terry Dwayne Ashford this morning in headlines around the world as our President Biden makes a statement that it is enough, and he urges Congress to pass gun control bills after he lowered the flag from the latest mass shooting of the rail yard in Santa Clara, California. The flag has been lowered at the White House today in honor of the mass killing that occurred in Santa Clara, California. That particular story of Biden is gracing the cover of USA Today newspaper. You're with headlines around the world from SNnews, terry-dwayne-ashford this morning, May 27th. It is May 27th on Thursday morning. This morning, SNnews also released the original version of the Roland Garros 2021, which is the original music piece composed by Terry Dwayne-ashford, your SNnews jet. That particular musical background piece was released this morning for your listening pleasures and is currently located on YouTube for anyone who wants to hear it. As we give you the headlines around the world from StreetNOW News, SNnews, Terry Dwayne-ashford, your JIT journalist and chief broadcaster, we now take us to a story on the cover of the Associated Press regarding the California shooting. Now, writer Jocelyn Decker and Martha Mendoza writes today. Again, today is Thursday morning, May 27th. 2021. These two writers graces the cover of one of the stories that's been posted on the Associated Press, that the killer of the 9 in California had talked of workplace attack. So they write the story, says that an employee who had gunned down 9 people at the California rail yard and then killed himself as law enforcement rushed in and he had talked about the killing. He had talked about the killing beforehand. At work, more than a decade ago, his ex-wife said, now, I'd never believed him. She said, this is a quote from his ex-wife. I never believed him, and it never happened until now, said the tearful wife of the gunman. Her name is Cecilia Nams, Nelms, as she told the Associated Press on Wednesday following the 6:30 a.m. Pacific time attack at the rail facility. The attack occurred at the Valley Transportation Authority in Santa Clara, California. She also went on to say actually this was a quote from the Santa Clara Sheriff, Laura Smith, told reporters, when our deputies went through the door, initially he was still firing rounds. When our deputy saw him, he took his own life. So when the police arrived at the tragic event of the shooting, the deputies are saying that the shooter was firing rounds when they walked into the doors there at the Santa Clara VTA shooting. You're getting your news this morning from terry-dwayne-ashford, StreetNOW News, and this particular story comes to us from the Associated Press. On to the Roland Garros 2021. Now, we have been reporting from SNnews that the start date for the Roland Garros is May 30th. However, we want to make a slight correction to that, although we were correct on that. The main draw starts to play on May 30th. The dates, though, for the earlier draws began May 24th. So the draw, the actual dates for the Roland Garros is from May 24th to June 14th, and that is as Naomi Osaka, Ash Barty, and Iga Swiatek, our defending champion, arrive and Roland at the courts of Roland Garros to begin their practice and defendants of their titles. There, I'm Terry-Dwayne-Ashford for SNnews. And while we're on the issue of Roland Garros, and we've indicated that we have our top players arriving there at the courts to begin their practice sessions, getting ready to defend their titles, play some good, hard-fought tennis matches for us all to enjoy. Our own Naomi Osaka has issued a statement that she has no plans of speaking to reporters during her reign at the French Open. Now, this particular story is brought to us by Jack Baer on Wednesday, May 26th, from one of the media outlets there at Yahoo Sports, and also reporting for Roland Garros itself. The three-time Grand Slam champion is announced on Wednesday, which was yesterday, that she will not do any media availability while competing at Roland Garros. And she cited mental health concerns for herself and for fellow players. You're getting this news from SNnews, Jack Terry-Dwayne-Ashford. And this particular story is brought to you regarding Naomi Osaka from Yahoo Sports. And Jack Baer is the writer for that, came through the Roland Garros website. We're going to close out right now. This particular programming was produced and directed and managed by Terry-Dwayne-Ashford, the reporting voice instead of Terry-Dwayne-Ashford. The voiceover is that of Terry-Dwayne-Ashford, and the face that's on the cover of this particular broadcast is that of Terry-Dwayne-Ashford, taken at the time of the broadcast. This particular broadcast began at 8:30 instead of 7:30 as initially announced. We brought it in an hour later. But nevertheless, we are right there for you. For Terry-Dwayne-Ashford, StreetNOW News, I'm here.